Hello and welcome back. I am Nicole. You may know me as Miss Ritter, Dr. Ritter, or just plain old Nicole. However you know me, welcome back. I'm happy that you're here and for helping me to reach my goal of monetization by August. I'm trying to monetize my YouTube channel to help me pay for my master's degree on my trek to become a better educator. Please like and subscribe this video, and we will share my running exploits and all the other silly stuff that I do along the way. In this episode, I want to share with you how I stay consistent, not only doing running stuff, but also just doing hard things in general. So this episode is for those of you that are trying to do the hard things. Aren't we all trying to do the hard things in today's day and age? So one of the hardest things about running is staying consistent. And what I mean by staying consistent is just showing up and continuing to do the hard thing day after day. I will admit that the first few weeks are the toughest, and starting is the hard part. After all, it's easier to get out of shape than it is to get into shape. And if it were easy, everybody would be doing it. For students, this applies to any hard stuff, the things that we just simply don't want to do, but we have to do. The best way to get things done is to have a consistent plan and stick to it. The days that I run now are routine. I know what I'm doing ahead of time and I do it. If I am not in a training time period, then my runs on a Tuesday and Thursday are limited to about 4 miles. And then on Saturdays, I'll do like 6 to 10 miles, just depending on what's coming up. Saturdays during training seasons are reserved for longer runs because we don't have time to do like a bunch of mileage on a Tuesday or Thursday before work. I used to think that if I ran 10 miles, I would be out of commission the rest of the day. But I found out through experience that that's just not true. That if I run 10 miles, it's actually a little bit better for me to keep moving throughout the day, because otherwise if you sit around you get real stiff and sore and the next day's even worse. So running 10 miles, then maybe doing some yard work or going for a hike is really kind of the best way to work through that lactic acid and the feelings of soreness. But here are the things that I do to stay consistent on a regular basis. Tip number 1. Lay out your clothes ahead of time. I do this regularly, religiously, because I get up at 4:05 a.m. And if I had to root around for my clothing, that already is a recipe for disaster. So I would just throw in the towel from the beginning if I didn't have that ready to go. If I didn't follow through, if I didn't have it ready, I would find a reason not to. So depending on the time of the year, I will check the weather ahead of time the night before, and that'll help dictate what I'm going to wear the next morning. I also have to check the weather to see, if it's going to rain. And if it's going to rain, I check in with my buddies and say, hey, are we going to do this if it's raining? Either way, having clothes set out ahead of time is a way that I ensure that I don't struggle with trying to find the right gear that morning. Tip number 2, make your workout, your hard thing, non-negotiable. So although I must consider the weather and my own health, I must stick to my plan. Aside from the weather or if I'm sick, I know where I'm going to be a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday morning all the time. This for me is non-negotiable. Even on vacations, I'm trying to fill in that Saturday long run. Things do not change if I get to bed late Friday night. If I have a bad night's sleep, I still show up to run at 5 o'clock Tuesday, Thursday, and 6:30 on a Saturday. The one thing that keeps me going is knowing that I will have my friends there when I arrive. So if I should cancel, I'm going to be letting them down, and I don't want to do that. And that leads me to tip number 3. Tip number 3 is to find your run buddies, your workout buddies, your study buddies. My very best friends are my run buddies. And reason number 2 is the biggest reason why. I know they're going to show up for me. I know that in my hardest moments, my friends are going to be there. Not only that, they see me at my ugliest, the last few miles when I'm ready to quit. And at some point in these tough times, someone's going to tell a funny story, or they're going to remind me that this suck is temporary and the present moment is just a moment and things are not so bad because we're all together sharing the suck itself and we're going to get through it. For example, here's a story to share with you. In my very first marathon, I was having a hard time in the last few miles. So mile 22 through 26 are really brutal. And I was running with friends that had a lot more experience than me, and they knew what was lying ahead of us. And right about the time that I was ready to stop and walk and whine and moan because, oh, it hurts my body, blah, blah, blah. Well, my friend Morgan just broke out in dancing and started jamming out to whatever music was playing. She was frolicking, jumping around, just bringing levity to the situation. And it got me out of that funk and back into the present, out of a funk and back to determination that we're gonna get this done, we're gonna work through it, and back to a mindset of this ain't no thing. We only got 4 miles to go. We do 4 miles on a Tuesday, Thursday, so let's get it done. The point is, when we surround ourselves with people who support us, the suck is lessened. So find those run buddies and share your silly stories. Tip number 4, set a goal for yourself and adopt a plan to make it happen. If this is something new for you, set small goals, like following through and showing up. Once you discover that you can actually rely on yourself to make things happen, then consider registering for a race and develop a plan around that. Now you can see my previous video about how to start a running program, a fitness regimen. But what is useful about a plan is that when you have set the race goal, it feels very, very far away. The far off date helps to keep me in the present. So if you're training for a fall race, you might start in the summertime and you go through the hot and humid weather, and then we hit that blissful sweet spot of fall where the weather is perfect. And this helps you mark the time one day at a time. It helps you know that you're going to make it to race day. Now, when you're setting those small goals, my 5th tip is to reward yourself for little wins. Hey, you showed up 3 days a week? Awesome. Go out for something fun to eat. My last tip might be best suited for how to stay motivated, a different topic, a different video. But in my early days, I would celebrate little things by going to get a pedicure or a massage or eating fried pickles. And now that I'm a little bit older, I can't make those nutrition decisions of fried pickles, but we'll make different food choices. Like maybe on a Saturday, we'll go out to get frozen custard or ice cream or something, or have a dessert. I will buy myself new shoes to celebrate. We might even register for another race if we have a particularly great finish or something. We're feeling really good. That's when we're really silly. But rewarding ourselves for little wins is an easy habit to get into for the hard parts of our lives. So if we know that these little rewards are coming at the completion of a task, it makes those hard tasks somewhat more manageable. So to summarize my tips for staying consistent, number 1, lay out your clothes ahead of time. This is going to prevent you from having the excuse, oh, I didn't know what to wear, I didn't know it was going to rain, yada, yada, yada. Lay out your clothes ahead of time so you do not have those excuses. Number 2, make your workouts non-negotiable. If you are committing to you, which is what this is, it's not something that you compromise. This is where you're going to be on your workout time and schedule. Number 3, find people who will support you. Find your run buddies, find your workout pals, find your study pals. They're the ones who are going to remind you, hey, we're all in this together and it's really not that bad, so shut up and get it done. Number 4, set a goal for yourself, even if they're small goals, and adopt a plan surrounding the bigger goals. Make it happen. And number 5, reward yourself for little wins. Keep these tips in mind when you're getting started or those days when you feel like quitting. Sometimes you have to listen to your body though, so don't sugarcoat things because I don't always feel like running. Take time off if you need it. Following through on the things that you say you're going to do is one way to build confidence in yourself and look forward to the next challenge. Every time you check off one of those goals is another time when you can look back and say, you know, that time that I did the thing, I did it. That reminds me of a really hard run that I had, and I'll just share this one too. There was a Saturday long run I had to do with my buddy Annika. It was hurricane weather in October. It was just the two of us. We ran at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This is before I had even run a marathon, and once again, my nutrition was terrible. You know what I had before I ran that run? I had a slice of coconut cream pie. Duh. No, don't recommend that today, but I was a rookie then and didn't know what I was doing. The two of us got through that really tough run together. So back to finding your run buddies, and making stuff like that happen just makes you feel amazing about yourself. My last tip was reward yourself for little wins. Do something small for yourself. Buy yourself some gum, just something that acknowledges the fact that you did something big and you succeeded. If you like what you see here, subscribe to my channel. Check out my previous videos where I tell you how to begin a running program. And I also have told you about my next challenge, which is the Black Mountain Monster, coming up in just a few days. And let me know in the comments if you'd like to see me go live from the trail and share my Black Mountain Monster experience with you. Until next time, keep running, keep doing the hard things. We can do it.